Hello, God's people. Welcome back to Scriptures Reimagined. As we approach Easter, I thought it ideal to open this season with the curtain. Poetic, right? Anyways, strap in. This won't be short, but it'll be deep and it'll be heavy. So bear with me. Let's get into it. Most people read one line in the Gospel of Mark and just move on. The curtain of the temple was torn in two. And the natural reaction is, so what? Just another dramatic detail in the middle of the crucifixion story. But that line right there is not a detail. It's the announcement that everything just changed. Let's slow this down. The temple in Jerusalem was not one open space. It was layered. There were courts within courts within courts. Now, each step inward came with more restriction, fewer people allowed, less access, more distance, until finally, at the center, there was a room, the Holy of Holies, the place where the presence of God dwelt. And no one walked in there casually, not a prophet, not a king, not even a priest. Just one man, the high priest. Once a year, on the Day of Atonement, he would enter, carrying blood, incense, and the weight of an entire nation's sin. One mistake and he wouldn't walk out there alive. In fact, some traditions even say that a rope was tied around his ankle so that if he dropped dead in the presence of God, they could pull his body out without anyone else going in. That's the reality. One man, one day, once a year. And that was the distance between humanity and God. And standing between them was a curtain, not a decorative veil, a wall nearly 60 feet high, massive, heavy. In fact, ancient accounts say it was so thick it felt like the breadth of a man's hand, so heavy that it took hundreds of men to move it. This wasn't something you brushed aside. This was something that said, you may come this far, but no further. Now step into the moment. Jesus is on the cross, breathing his last, and then he says, it is finished. And at that exact moment, the Bible tells us that something happened inside the temple. The curtain ripped, not from bottom to top, not by human hands reaching upward. No, it ripped from top to bottom. Think about that. God didn't wait for humanity to break through. He tore it himself from his side down to ours. While that was happening, the priests were in the temple. It was Passover, the busiest day. So sacrifices were being made, rituals were being performed, and then suddenly the barrier they had built their entire system around split open in front of their own eyes. And it never closed again. For generations, the system said, you didn't approach God directly. You bring a sacrifice, you go through a priest, you stay at a distance, and maybe, just maybe, your sin is covered for another year. That was the closest anyone got. And then Jesus dies, and with one act, the system is fulfilled. Not improved, not adjusted, finished. The wall came down, access was opened, the distance was removed. So no more waiting for one day a year. No more standing at the edge hoping that you're accepted. No more fear of entering his presence. You don't need a priest to stand between you and God, because Christ became that bridge. So when you read the curtain was torn, don't just skim past it. Don't treat it like a detail. That was the moment heaven said, folks, the door is open, the curtain is ripped. So what? So everything. Because what once separated you from God has already been torn apart, and Scripture is inviting you to step in.